afternoon, everybody. I'm at the back of our main cow barn right now, and we just bought some new covers for our exhaust fans. The exhaust fans are used for summer ventilation, and in the wintertime we got some big insulation bats that go in there, and they're supposed to seal them off from the weather outside and not let any cold air come inside. But for whatever reason, the insulation bats that I always put in these exhaust fans don't actually block all of the cold air from coming in. So that's why we had to buy those new covers. They go on the outside, and I'm just going to be putting them on right away here this afternoon. It's pretty much the last warm day right before a nasty freeze is in the forecast. So I want to get all of these 10 fans blocked off. A lot of cold air does come in here because these two water bowls at the back of this barn do actually freeze up whenever it does get a little bit cold. So it'll be awesome to block all that cold air from coming in. I guess they were from that website. And they're just a black tarp that goes over the fan. It's got a bungee cord in there, and that's how it's supposed to stay on there. It'll be interesting to see how well they actually stay on there with all the wind that we get up here in Saskatchewan. But there's only one way to find out. Let's get it on there. Definitely looks pretty good. It does seem like the bungee cord is pretty tight, and there's a pretty big lip on these fans, so I do think it's gonna stay on. That's awesome. Gotta move some equipment out of the way. Alright, so we got the first 5 on the fans there. I think they're looking pretty sharp. I gotta do these next 5. You can see my dad tried to push some snow up against the barn there earlier this winter when we had that first big dump of snow. The reason why is because there's some water lines just on the inside of those walls there, and he was just trying to get those things insulated a little bit using the snow. Hopefully they weren't gonna freeze. That's what the idea was anyway, but unfortunately I think they did end up freezing. And now we're stuck with these massive piles of snow that I'm sure get the covers on the first 4, but you guys can see that last fan at the end there, it's up in that fan. I don't know why he pushed it that aggressively into it, but it tore the cage off of that fan, and I'm gonna have to shovel that out. I think I'll use the loader and take that whole pile away, and then shovel the rest out. But yeah, let's quickly get these first 4 on, and then we'll see what we do with that. Another thing that's kind of been sucking with those other fans, there's snow on top of those fans. Obviously, putting these covers on is something you should be doing in the late fall. The reason why we're doing it right now versus then is because someone told us about these things, and we were like, hey, that's a pretty good idea, we'll order some. We ordered them up out of the States, tried to source them locally. just from Saskatoon here, but the company was not really responsive, so they didn't, snap the thing. So we just quickly ordered those online. They shipped them out here. So far, these things are awesome. They're kind of maybe a thin tarp, not the thickest, maybe not the most durable thing in the world, but I think they're going to be perfectly fine for this on the fans here. And they're just a bungee cord. They're super easy to install, and the packaging is awesome. Quickly just tear it off even with your gloves on. Overall, I'm having a good experience installing these. So yeah, let's get the rest of these on and we'll see what we got to do with that last fan there. Well, one of the bungee cords just broke. Oh well, that should do it. Hopefully the barn is going to stay a lot warmer with no cold air leaking in when it gets really cold, so looks good. Well guys, it is about a week after I put those insulation tarps on those fans, or the wind blocker tarps, and right now it's about minus 35 degrees outside. We've just had the coldest little bit of weather that we've had so far in 2021 and for the rest of this winter. So it's pretty cold outside and it's been here for a couple days now, so pretty brutal weather. And you can see inside of the barn here. We'll take a closer look, but it's kind of foggy because of all the humidity in here. And yeah, let's go check it out a bit. So right now the visibility in the barn is still pretty decent. If I come back here tonight at 10, or if I were to open up one of the doors, it would get foggy to the point where I probably couldn't even see that post right there anymore. And that's because as the cold air from outside comes inside and mixes with the higher humidity warm air inside of the barn here, as soon as those two mix, it's just pure fog and you can't see anything. Check out the barn this morning, guys. It is foggy in here. That is because it is extremely cold outside. We just opened this overhead door here so that Dima could come and feed. Look at how much that thing is smoking right now. The exhaust of the tractor is smoking, as well as the batch of feed in the wagon. It's about minus 40 out right now, so it's cold. Look at how foggy it is. It's insane. Clear as day out here, but So we were just at the straw pack barn over there. Now I'm back at the front door of this barn here just to make sure it goes up normally again. You can see, look at all the ice buildup here on this door. That's what freezes solid, and then all of these sections need to fold and break loose, and this door actually didn't open up anymore. We had to manually use the chain because the electric opener there was not strong enough. So we got pretty lucky here that this door went open this morning. These things are so finicky, and you can see why. It's because the humidity just is sucked right onto this door and frozen solid to it, and that makes huge problems for us. But all the doors worked this morning. We're gonna go ahead and line the floor there with salt in a bit here after he's done feeding. So try to keep it from freezing down to the ground. I'm gonna open this door up a bit here and clear all the ice away that's on the concrete. So I also put a bunch of salt there. Now this door should be good. You can see as soon as I open that door how much foggier it got in here all of a sudden. Well guys, we're in my truck again. We're putting bedding in the corrals, and when it's this cold outside, I like to grab my pickup and just stay warm in here. The tractor usually takes about a minute to go and grab bales, so then you don't have to drag on too many clothes and stuff if you just hop in here while he's getting bales. But me and Dad are gonna be out here in the corrals. We're gonna be tossing some bedding in there. Cows do actually do pretty good out here in the wintertime. I'll show you guys some shots of them in a second here. And they just got a really incredibly warm winter coat. And this is something that they start to put on in the late fall. It starts to get colder at nighttime. And you can tell right away, as soon as a couple of colder nights come, they start to wool up. Their fur coats just start to get thicker, and they're gonna stay a lot warmer because of this fur coat. And you can see that going on in the late fall. And then now you can see it's pretty handy because these guys just are so tough and they stay perfectly warm even when it gets down to minus 40, minus 50. These cows are perfectly fine as long as we continue to put warm, fresh, dry bedding in their corrals so that they have a nice warm thing to lay down on. And cool thing about these straw packs, they actually start to ferment a little bit because of the manure and all of the moisture in the straw, and they'll start to emit some heat, and that heat will kind of permeate up through the straw pack, and it'll keep them a little bit extra warm just like that. So wherever you've seen a cow laying down on the straw pack for like a couple hours, it's actually really warm if you go and feel that straw pack. And I guess that's why. So we're gonna toss bedding in here, try and stay warm. So one other thing that we really need to keep an eye on throughout the entire winter, but especially when it's so cold out here, is how these water bowls are doing. Make sure that there's still water in there and that they're not full of ice, because these corrals need to have access to however much water they feel like drinking, and we got to make sure that these things don't freeze up. So here you can see this water bowl. It's a Ritchie water bowl. They're really good water bowls. It's for the steer pen here, as well as the bred heifer pen. You can see how much ice is built up on here. Seems like a lot, but you can see here, they still have plenty of access to perfectly warm water. There's a heater element in here underneath the water bowl, and that's what allows them to stay thawed out. So throughout all the corrals here, we got a total of 5 water bowls, and I'm just quickly checking them as we're tossing bedding in. It's pretty easy when you're running the gates just to take a peek, and you only ever have to do something if one of these things is frozen solid, but you would really hate to see that. If this thing is frozen and there's no water coming out, it's because the heater element is broken most likely, which means we got to chisel all of the ice away from that door. Then we can get in underneath the water bowl, figure out what's wrong. But it looks like today, none of them are actually broken. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed checking out what it's like when it's this cold, I guess. And maybe we'll make some more videos. Kind of don't like filming when it's this cold. You always got to freeze your hands to get a shot or something. So sorry if there's not many videos lately. But thanks for watching anyway, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.